Every January, I see about the same thing happen with divorced dads. They they swear this year is going to be different, and I did the same, man. I did the same. I can't argue with that. And by week three, this is kind of where we're at. Everything starts slipping. I remember again for myself sitting in this chair, and I spoke about this in our school group the other night with dads, explaining sitting in this chair, being in January. Remember coming back from signing papers of the divorce, having been laid off the same day, wondering where the revenue was going to come from, wondering when I was going to see my kids, how this new plan was going to be, feeling like I was in a blender. And I remember just here's January, and I'm going to will my way through it. Now, those of you that are type A personalities like myself, very leadership driven, headstrong, you can will your way most of your life, and you've probably gotten away with it. And that's again what I had attempted to do. And I was burning so much energy because today I'm going to get into this market report. And it's something that I've learned so much from because in order to understand where you're at, and those of you in the financial sector or those of you in the real estate sector, you understand that there's market reports and that helps you understand the season that you're in and the cycle that you're in. I can remember reviewing, financial things from some of the guys that have led me along the way, and reading them and understanding the reports of, whether it's stocks or whether it's bonds or futures or whatever it is. There's cycles, and the scripture says it like this: to everything there's a season, and you've got to know the season you're in and what January is actually doing around you. It's almost like going into the jungle. You've got to understand. You got to have the right gear. You got to have the right clothes on. It's not time to have your winter parka, coats on and winter hats and big boots. There's not snow in the jungle. And you've got to be able to first understand the context and the environment that you're in. Why? So that you can adapt, right? Wisdom is understanding and getting understanding for that season. Wisdom and understanding tie together. And when you're in this, it's like, hey, whoa, what's actually going on around me? Why does my mind feel like this? And I'm going to unpack this market report for you guys, a little bit of context for you about why you feel the way you do and why sometimes it's harder and why guys give up and all of those things that I had to do because you cannot will your way through it. I don't care how strong you are. There's going to be a meter. And I know for me, I would come into the weekends and just be absolutely destroyed. And my self control, because I had been using so much of it through the week, was burning out. And there was weekends where, maybe it was, an alcohol or, maybe it was a gummy or, it was these little things that I was doing because I was essentially numbing out to be able to get through it. And I don't want you to get through it. I want you to grow through it. This is a season that I believe that this pain, this adversity, this destruction can be transformed into the greatest season of your life. And you first have to be able to believe that it's possible for you. And when you believe it's possible for you, then we can chart the course. Then we can create the pathways. Then we can get around the right people. Then you're going to become the dad that you've always been, man. Always been. I just got this statue, and you'll probably laugh at it because you'll probably think it's weird or whatever you think. This is this is Michelangelo. This is the statue of David. Those of you listening, I'm holding up a 3D printed naked statue of David that Michelangelo carved out. And I this was a picture that I had beginning of the year, not just for my own self, every dad I talked to. Why? Because when they asked Michelangelo, how the heck, and when you see this statue of David carved out of marble way back in the day, man, none of the tools we have today, they said, how'd you do it? And he said, I took away everything that wasn't supposed to be there. Dads, this market report is going to help you understand, help you get wisdom of what does not need to be there. what got you here is not going to be what gets you there. So January exposes a lot of things. It exposes isolation, exposes sometimes what these problems are. And when you sit with your feelings, what that feels like, man. January is not a motivation problem. It's a systems and identity problem. That's what you're up against. Listen, those of you that, if this episode or this podcast has been helpful, gives you language for what's happening in your life, man, just subscribe, leave a review. This is how it reaches dads that are silently drowning. And you can be part of that. That's why I ask. It's a simple click that you can do that says, boom, I want to help 10 more dads, 20 more dads, 50 more dads. I believe this is a million listener podcast for people. And you can do just something small and simple for that. So let's unpack some of this January reality. Let's unpack the data and the market signals. And again, this market report for divorced dads, it's a cycle, it's a season. I bring these out every month because you need to know what you're walking into. And these are going to be some things that help you understand what you're walking into. January isn't when men fail. January is when reality shows up, right? So we'll give you some context in that. Gyms lose 80% of new members by February. I was recently with a cousin of mine who manages one of the largest gyms in the country. And I was so inquisitive with her the last time I saw her over Thanksgiving. And I asked her exactly these questions. I said, how many people actually go to the gym? And she gave me the numbers, and it was exactly lined up to this. There's about 15 to 20% that actually go to the gym. Most New Year's goals collapse by day 19. Dopamine drops after the fresh start effect wears off, right? So what this looks like for post-divorce guys, right? They have higher relapse into isolation, into alcohol, into substance abuse, and avoidance in winter months, right? Social support drops, silence increases, and shame compounds. So January is like the tide going out. If you understand the ocean, it's the tide is going out, and you don't suddenly become exposed. You see what was already there. A few months back, we were in San Diego and we were staying there on the beach. And this tide analogy was so vivid for me because we would walk out there and, toward the end of the day, the tide was rolled in and all of these, little tiny seashells were laying on the bench, and the strip of beach that we were on was, it was widened so far. You could walk so much more on the sand. And that is the revealer. That is what January does. It's like uncovering the blankets and finding out what else is in your bed, what else is tucked in there. And so the neuroscience behind this, why men collapse in January. I'll give you a few of these. We'll share a little bit about the FAST system, what I work through, what clients and I work through, how it fits, what that system looks like to be able to deal with this in this month, in this season, in this context. So neuroscience goes like this. Dopamine spikes during the new start, right? You're excited. New year, new you, all those vibes. And those are great, man. I'm all for motivation. It's like milk. It's got an expiry date. I got a thing of milk right there. I got 2 days left on it. And this thing's going to be sour and it's gone, right? Cortisol rises when discipline isn't installed. Doing hard things, man. Life is hard. And having the systems is going to be what you fall back into. Non-negotiable. Some of clients of mine know we have the non-negotiables of our day. What are those systems? What does that look like? The brain seeks relief and not growth. That's what happens in this season. It's potentially wore out. Your stress and anxiety levels are sucking so much energy out of your life that creativity is hard, and seeing the future is hard, and just doing that one thing can be hard. There's a guy I'm talking to even now, and I sent him the group that we're in, the school group, and he goes, bro, I don't even know if I can click the button. That's the reality of the dads I talk to. About 1,000 dads every month, reaching 7 million every month. And these are the stories that come in. And there's stories that break my heart. There's stories that I hear and I say, brother, there's a way. And I want to tell anyone, I'm just nudged now. If you're listening to this, brother, there's a way forward. Nothing is finished. Nothing is impossible. You can get back up. And man, I wish so much back when I was in those phases, I had somebody that would just tell me that, bro, I'm with you. Just come walk with me. Come take one step. Don't try and run the whole journey. Take one step. Avoidance in this season, I'm already crying. Guys, you got this, man. Avoidance in this season feels like rest, but it deepens fatigue. There's another guy I'm talking with now, and he's talking about taking a break. And man, I don't know if I can keep doing this, and it's been hard, and all those kinds of things. And I just said, brother, I said, is this the man that you want to become talking, or is this the man that you are, or the man that you were? And that's a question you have to ask yourself every day, because you are becoming somebody. That statue of David is getting carved out every day, or it's remaining the same. And you've got to take that chisel and you've got to carve that thing out. And those pieces got to fall off, because this is the man that you're becoming for yourself, for your children, for everything that God has created you to be. Your brain isn't broken. It's doing exactly what it's trained to do. That's what's going on right now. So let me give you a quick, fast run through of what this system sounds like and hears like in these settings and with this market report. First is focus, man. What you focus on is what you become. Focus. It's fuel. Most men don't know what they're building, only what they're escaping. Most say, I don't want to be broke anymore. Or I don't want to live in a mental hurricane, right? I don't want this. And what I want to challenge you on there is that you've got to go for what you want, not what you don't want. We've got to build what you want, because when you can see it and you can clearly specify it, you can run at it every time of the day, all throughout the day. The next part of the F is the faith side. Guys, faith is, we all need faith. And I think if you're as broken as I was and in a place where I was, you're going to say, I need faith more than ever. And I want to challenge you on that. Pick up the heavy weights in the area of faith. Those of you know in the modules in our system here, you know how I dig into that. You know I challenge you on those things. Why? Because everything is spiritual. And your spirit needs to be risen up. It needs to be strengthened, man. You got to pick up the heavier weights. And those heavier weights are going to allow you to see things differently. The A in the FAST system is awareness. January reveals untracked habits and emotional leaks. That's what the market report will reveal. You also, in the A part with awareness, is accountability. The reason why everything falls off is because there's a lack of accountability. And there's sometimes guys in our chat will just drop in the lessons and the things that they're learning and the things that they're doing. Why? They just want to get accountable. And the accountability is the gateway drug to freedom. That's how you put on the right clothes in the right season to be able to get to where you want to go. The next is strategy. Motivation expires without systems. Man, I wish I could be motivated all the time. And unfortunately, I'm not. And neither is anybody else in this world. And so the systems that you create will keep you on track. The accountability that you have, the partner here will be the guardrails to pull you forward when it's tough, when the tough day comes, because they're coming. They're coming. And the systems that you have, the strategy that you have. I talked to some guys the other day, and they were telling me about the mental loops that they're in. I said, hey, welcome aboard. These mental loops are not going away until you have a predetermined system to be able to take those mental loops on and turn them into fuel, turn them into what you've created, you're creating. Scripture says that we take every thought captive to the obedience of Christ. Christ is, what is the identification of your life? Right? What does he have for you? Man, good things, great things, incredible future, a great hope, great peace, all those things, great. All of them great. So that's who you are, not who you were. That's where transformation is. And the T is identity must change before behavior sticks. You've literally got to put that focus into who you're becoming, who you're becoming for your kids. And you say, man, it sure doesn't look like I am. Well, it's not about fast forwarding it. This isn't about accelerating it. It's about daily growth and tracking the growth. Listen, progress is happiness. And that's why what you can't measure, what you can't manage, what you can't measure, you can't manage. And so I want all the guys I work with, you have to measure even your mental capacity. What were you thinking about? What was taking you down last month, last week? And how have you adapted that? How do we measure that? Right? If we can't measure it, we can't manage it. And so I'm constantly in that state for you guys, for transformation, for what it looks like. This isn't about just dumping and throwing up all the problems that you have. And a lot of times that's what I hear from guys is just a bunch of throw up, a bunch of vomit, how hard everything is. And that's needed, and that has to be transformed. We've got to take that garbage. We've got to take that stuff and use it as fuel in any way possible. And so trying to win January with motivation is like trading emotions on the stock market. Good God, volatility destroys you. And if you've ever traded, and I did that for about 10 years, trading futures, options, stocks, all of it, and literally blew up my account. I'll tell you what, my emotions was exactly that. Volatility destroyed me. And that's where a lot of guys at. They're living on this emotion. They're living on this motivation. Scripture says in Luke 14:28, which of you wanting to build a tower does not first sit down and count the cost? And so January is about counting the cost. It is a cost counting month, not the promise making month. And here's the shift that I want to get into you guys today. I'll give you a few questions before we go here, just a few more minutes. So listen closely, carefully, write these down, copy and paste these in your notes later. There's two men. What builders do differently. Here's two. There's one who's the drifter. And you know, I talk a lot about drifting. The drifter does this, and you can identify kind of where you're at. And I think every person has both. We're not all perfect. This isn't about perfection. It's about progress. The drifter does this, reacts to feelings, avoids discomfort, and waits for clarity. Oh, drifter, waits for clarity, avoids discomfort, reacts to feelings. I had a guy the other night tell me about all of his feelings and how he was reacting and how he was triggered. A lot of you guys, you're not going to want to hear this. You're not going to like hearing this. I'm just going to share with you the neuroscience behind it, the positive psychology behind it, and this is the frame that I work in. If you don't like the frame, God bless you. I'm sure there's other people that you can talk to. But this is the road that I go down. Triggers, and anybody that can trigger you controls you. Anybody, any people, place, or thing. If they can trigger you, they can control you. And what have you just done? You've given your life over to somebody else because you haven't had the discipline, the fortitude, and the identity to understand that nobody controls how you feel and nobody controls what you do. It's up to you. And when you give that away, you give away your life, you give away your time, you give away your future. And when you do that, you also begin to train your children to do the same. That when somebody doesn't treat them right, that they can be triggered. When somebody says something about them, that they can be triggered. Triggering is literally giving somebody else control over how you feel. And there is no room for that for a man of discipline, a man of growth, and the man that you're becoming. Nothing should affect you. You're anxious. Scripture says we're anxious for nothing, right? It says that we worry about nothing, right? So when you think of those things, think of for yourself, like how does that look like what does it look like in your life? And why are you allowing people, places, or things to trigger you? The builder, here's what the builder does, just for the sake of time, and then I'll run into these questions. Here's the builder. They track their inputs. Okay. let me pause here for a second because I've got a picture in my mind about Steph Curry, and he did an interview that was sensational, and he talked about what he focused on. And you look at Steph, and he shoots literally blindfolded on the court, makes threes. And you watch his training, and he takes half court shots literally as part of his training, full court shots, part of his training, all over the court, part of his training. And he's doing it at full speed. He's always working, practicing like he's playing. Because when you practice like you play, then when you play, it's just like practice. It's the same thing. It's one and the same. You're never off key, off tune. You're always on. And what I noticed about Steph was they said, hey, Steph, when you shoot that shot, what do you focus on? What are you looking at? And Steph shared that, most people are looking, you and I would be looking at the basket, the rim, somewhere in there. Steph said, I drill down a little bit more. And I don't have the picture here in front of me, but there's a picture where there's this little bar on the rim. And Steph focuses on the bar in the rim. It's this little 3-inch bar just under the rim. He says, I look at that. That's my focus. That's what I'm looking at. Steph shoots thousands of shots a day. He tracks his inputs. What else does a builder do? They schedule discipline. What else does a builder do? They move before confidence arrives. So builders don't wait to feel ready. They build readiness. They understand that their movement is going to create more clarity. And then a lot of guys I deal with say, but I don't know which way to go. What if I go the wrong way? Well, by going the wrong way, you'll eliminate one of the ways not to go. And you'll say, oh, I don't want to waste time. Well, you have to understand that by staying put, by staying comfortable, by staying in that place, you're dying and you're not going to find anything. And so moving, action, motion creates emotion. Open one door and find out what the next door is. And so these are the things that builders do versus drifters. So let me leave you with these couple of questions. Number one, and they're in the show notes as well. What is January revealing about my current systems? Answer that. What is January revealing about my current systems? Number two, where am I relying on motivation instead of structure? Another way to say it. And number three, if nothing changes, where will I be by March? Nothing changes. What will happen? Most guys in this scenario, they're thinking that it's just going to gradually get better. Or they'll say, I just need more time. It's not the time that you need. It's what you do in the time. Steph didn't get it to be a better three-point shooter just by casually playing basketball. I'll play a little bit here. I'll play a little bit there. He was intentionally focused about the goal in mind. And that's what I want to bring to you and leave with you and let you sit with today for yourself. Here's the challenge I have for you for January. It's an audit. It takes about 5 minutes. I want you to write down one habit that is leaking energy. And then I want you to write down one system that you need to install. What's the habit that's leaking energy? I hear guys a lot, scrolling, or I'll start doing the work and I get distracted and I have ADHD. Okay. What's the system you need to install? What's the habit that's leaking energy? No fixing yet. I just want you to expose it because you can't rebuild what you won't look at. Listen, guys, share this episode with one dad. Click the button, hit subscribe, leave a comment. That's that. If this resonates, if it hits, if there's something that you're like, dang, bro, that hit. Join us where it actually happens, man. Jump in the school group. It's a free community. It's a brotherhood. I'm in there daily. This is a full-time thing for me. Rebuilding 1 million divorced dads, transforming your life and your legacy. That's what matters to me. If you're not on Divorced Dads of America, follow us on Instagram. Start there, man. Every single day, there is a coaching framework that I put out every day. Because, listen, January doesn't break men. It reveals who's building and who's drifting. If you want this market report, the school group will have the full thing, or send me a comment or a link. Say, hey, I need the market report for January. Just send it to me. I love you guys. I'm praying for you. I'm rooting for you. God bless you. I'll see you on the next one.